Who's actually going to get the most out of a 5 horsepower rotary screw compressor with an integrated dryer? And who should walk away before they spend a fortune? If you're wondering whether this Quincy unit is worth the price tag for a typical everyday buyer, you're not alone. The decision isn't just about horsepower or tank size, it's about matching the machine to the way you actually use compressed air, the space you have, and the electricity you can supply. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started looking at industrial-grade compressors, the biggest hesitation I felt was the fear of overbuying. I'd seen hobbyist forums where people splurged on a big-ticket rotary screw, only to discover their garage never needed that kind of continuous flow. At the same time, I talked to a few small auto body shops that were still running aging reciprocating units that broke down every few months. Their main worry was downtime and the hidden cost of constantly replacing belts and motors. The Quincy QGS 5TMD sits right in that sweet spot where a serious shop can finally ditch the maintenance nightmare, but a casual DIY might end up with a machine that sits idle most of the week. Let's talk about the practical strengths first. The rotary screw design means the motor runs at a constant speed, delivering a steady stream of air without the pulsations you get from a piston compressor. In a real-world setting, say you're doing a full car paint job, the consistency translates into a smoother finish because the spray gun never has to compensate for drops in pressure. The built-in dryer is another hidden gem. Moisture in the air line is the silent culprit behind paint runs, rust on stored parts, and even premature wear on pneumatic tools. Having a dryer baked into the unit eliminates the need for a separate after-the-fact moisture trap, saving floor space and an extra purchase. The 60-gallon tank isn't just a number on a spec sheet. It acts as a buffer for those moments when you're running multiple tools at once. I've seen a shop that runs a sandblaster, an impact wrench, and a spray gun simultaneously. With a smaller tank, the pressure would dip, forcing the motor to kick in and cause a noticeable slowdown. The larger tank on this Quincy model smooths out those peaks, keeping the pressure stable enough that the sandblaster doesn't lose grit and the wrench stays torqued. Another real-world advantage is the 16.6 CFM output at 175 psi. That rating isn't abstract. It tells you exactly how many tools you can run at once. For a small fabrication shop that does occasional metal forming and regular pneumatic drilling, that airflow comfortably powers 3 to 4 tools without choking. It also means you can run a continuous spray booth without having to stagger the work, which boosts productivity and cuts labor costs. Now, onto the practical weaknesses. The first hurdle is the power requirement. This unit is a 3-phase machine, which most residential garages simply don't have. If you don't already have a 3-phase line, you'll need to install 1A project that can add a few $1,000s to the total cost and might require a permit. That alone turns this into a decision point for anyone who isn't already set up for industrial power. Size and weight are also factors you can't ignore. The QGS 5TMD is a sizable piece of equipment. It needs a dedicated concrete slab or a very sturdy floor, and you'll need to clear at least a 6-foot radius around it for proper ventilation and service access. If you're thinking about tucking it into a cramped garage corner, you'll quickly discover it's not a good fit. The heavy oil-filled pump also means you have to schedule regular oil changes, something you wouldn't worry about with a smaller, oil-free reciprocating unit. While the maintenance isn't overly complex, it does add a recurring cost and a bit of downtime that casual users might not want to manage. Another subtle drawback is the upfront price. The Quincy QGS 5TMD lands in the higher-end bracket for compressors, and while the rating of 4.4 out of 5 stars from over 600 reviewers suggests general satisfaction, it also reflects that the buyers who left those ratings are mostly professionals who needed exactly what this machine offers. If you're a weekend hobbyist who only runs a nail gun a few times a month, the return on investment shrinks dramatically. You'll be paying for capacity you'll never truly use, and the operating cost, especially electricity, on a 3-phase line will be higher than a smaller, single-phase unit. So who should buy this? If you run a small to medium auto body shop, a metal fabrication shop, or a woodworking business that relies on multiple pneumatic tools running simultaneously, this Quincy compressor checks the boxes. It's also a solid pick for anyone who needs a reliable source of dry air for paint booths, sandblasting cabinets, or any process where moisture is a deal breaker. The built-in dryer saves you the hassle of a separate filtration system, and the continuous duty cycle means you can keep the line running 24/7 without worrying.